So Chris, you got to tell us about the sheep story. I've heard so many little bits and pieces, but we got to know.
All right, it's kind of a funny story. It's got a happy ending. So one of the great things about biodynamics is the introduction of animals onto the site, and so we have cows, sheep, and chickens, in addition to all the natural wildlife that's there, and they each one have a role. The cows, it's their manure. We collect their manure. We used to let them go through the vineyard, but they did too much damage to the vineyard, so we keep them in the paddock. And we have chickens that run around and eat a lot of bugs and cutworms. We use their eggs to find the wine. But the real workhorse are the sheep. They're little sheep. They're called dorpers, and they run around the vineyard. And they're amazing. As they walk, they eat the grass, lowering the grass. They also, the little cloven hooves, beat down any leaves or any debris in the vineyard, so it eliminates mildew pressure. So they're really good, and they're dropping the golden turd out the back end, fertilizing as they go.
Absolutely, sure.
So they're really healthy for the property. The thing is, I'm not a shepherd, okay? So I had to get an instant course on being a shepherd. So what we did is we ended up getting 60 sheep is the number that works really well for us. And you get ewes, they're females. So I have 60 females. And there's a timing to this. You want to have all your lambs born in late November, December, because that's when the rain happens. The grass grows. You have all these young lambs out there eating, hungry.
Mini lawnmowers, yep.
Eating, and then in April, the bud breaks. We pull the sheep out. We cull the herd back down to 60 ewes and start the process all over again. So in August, I need to bring in a ram to get the ewes pregnant so they have lambs. Mother Nature. Well, first time I'm thinking I got 60 ewes, I need a bunch of rams.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, well, I'll get 6 rams. Sounds like a proper number. I don't know what the love ratio is for sheep, but sounds like a good number. So I call the guy up who I got the ewes from, and he's laughing at me on the phone. He's like, "What? Are you crazy? Think about it, Chris. They're called rams for a reason." I'm like, "Oh yeah, they fight." He goes, "Yes. So you can't have too many males." So I'm like, "Well, how about 2?" And he goes, "No, that's not going to work because 2 rams will fight until one or both are dead, and then that one will take over." He goes, "So what you want is 1." I'm like, "Really? 1 ram for 60 ewes?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "That sounds like a big number, but you're the expert." So I'm expecting like super ram, right?
Of course.
With a cape,
yeah.
huge horns, like da da da, prancing around the flock, like he's.
And you have your big staff.
Yeah, exactly. I got
sure.
my long beard. But the pickup truck pulls up, and this little wimpy ram jumps off. Didn't even have horns, right? I'm like, what a ripoff! And he runs off into the flock. I couldn't even tell him from the ewes, and he's eating the alfalfa. I'm like,
so you're calling your buddy like, "Oh, come on."
I'm like, you gotta, all right, this guy's supposed to be the stud. So that whole day and the whole next day, I watched the flock, and he's not doing his business. So I'm down there for a good 10 hours, right? And he's not doing it, which means he's got to work a lot during the night. And so I'm thinking he's not doing what I hired him. I thought, maybe he's shy, maybe there's I don't know, some kind of travel shock or something like that. So I call the guy back up and I go, "Hey, I think this guy's broken or something's wrong." And he goes, No, they're just shy. He's doing it, trust me. And I'm like, "But how do you know? I gotta know." And he's like, "Trust me." So I go through a whole nother day, nothing happens. Now I call him up again, I'm concerned. And so he's laughing at me. He goes, "Well, if you really want to know if he's doing his job, there is a trick." And I'm like, "I'm listening." So he goes, "Get a piece of paper." So I get a piece of paper. He goes, "You're going to need a few things." "Okay, what are they?" So he says, "I got to get a Crisco, white Crisco." Okay? It's getting kinky, getting kind of weird. Right? I'm like, I'm into this. So then he's also some blue carpenter's chalk.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Hey, because everyone wants Crisco and blue carpenter's chalk. So when I went down to the store to buy these, the poor cashier looked at me like I
can only imagine.
the biggest pervert in the world.
It's a small town.
And small town. And when I was trying to tell him what I was doing, that does not go well in translation. So I finally get up there, and my guys that work with me are laughing hysterically. They want nothing to do with me. So I'm up there. I got the Crisco. I put the carpenter's chalk. I get my hand, and I make this big blue paste. And they go grab the ram, and I take this paste, and you guys know where I'm going with this. I coat the...
Can you guys picture this right now?
I coat the underbelly of the ram, and the idea is wherever he mounts, he'll leave behind some blue imprint, and we'll know where he did his business for the night. So we do that. It's the end of the day. We shut the barn door because we have mountain lions. We got to lock them up at night. And the very next morning, I come rumbling down the trail to the barn, and they're the guys, and they're laughing hysterically. They're pointing at me, and they're laughing. I get out, like, what? And they open the barn door. And you have to imagine this. You ever been to Vegas?
Sure.
Okay. You know when you go to Vegas, you see the Blue Man Group? It looked like the Blue Man Group played all night in my barn. There was blue everywhere. I was never more impressed with an animal in all my life. I half expected him to be sitting in the corner with a cigarette. And you doubted me.
He was a tight one.
He was unbelievable.
Wow.
So that day we called him Mr. Lucky, and that's how Cabernet is made.